I watched the Donald Trump news conference today, and there's a good thing and a bad thing with it. Because, to be honest, when he says, for example, look, I don't want to tell everything to the public before we do it in regards of foreign policy, I think that is not so bad as people want to make it. The next one is, yes, he wants to have a good relationship with Russia because they are those two nuclear power players who are able to destroy the world within 25 minutes. And I think that is correct that he wants a good time, like a good relationship with Russia. The question, of course, what comes up every single moment is he getting blackmailed by Russia because they have a peeing tape from him or whatsoever against him in his hand, and they made him with the WikiLeaks, Hillary Clinton leaks, the President of the United States. What I don't think really was the reason that he got elected. I think the average person gave a shit about the Hillary Clinton email scandal. I think they just wanted to have somebody else in the White House who is not a politician. That is now the dramatic turn. Is there are two things. A, the way he talks is so funny, like in a way, like he says to every single journalist, you're a liar, fake news, all bullshit. But then he follows completely absurd Twitter tweets from unknown people who say, I just heard something, and then he thinks that are the facts and not the researched news from the worldwide press agencies, if it's AP, BBC, CNN, The Spiegel in Germany, whatsoever. So he thinks that it's all fake news because they're all not pro-Trump. So it's kind of a completely absurd situation. Then the last 2 days he lost his General Flynn, a crazy person, and today he lost his Carl's Jr. CEO, who is against minimum wage, who is against paying overtime, who's against basically everything what would be his job as the Minister for Labor. So he didn't, he stepped back before he was basically getting his job. And it looks like Oprah Winfrey killed him because she released an old interview tape with his ex-wife where the ex-wife said, he hit me in the face various times. So that was the end of him. So his parliament or his bunch of secretaries are slowly falling apart. And it looks like from also business partners from Trump that they always said yes, his attention span is around 5 minutes. That is the reason you should listen to my podcast so that Donald Trump can actually follow everything. So, that is where we stand right now, basically. We're living in a complete absurd situation. We say, like, who should I call in Russia? I don't know anybody. I have no dealings with Russia. I called 2 times President Trump. Because that was the point we talked about, of course. And here's basically my new dog. Bessie, we cannot go out again. Lay down. Schluss. So, she wants to go outside the whole time, and then she jumps, then she jumps over the fence and disappears. She's a boxer bull mastiff mix, and she's 9 months old. That is only like a little intermission. Because the most important thing, what I wanted to say basically in that podcast, what gets heavier with the dog in my arms, is, yes, the biggest point, and I think that was very good pointed out by John Oliver and Bill Maher in the last weekend shows they did, is the fact that here on stake is everything what we growed up with, everything what we learn as child is there are facts, right? So there is no dispute. You can, for example, dispute what to do against global warming, right? What to do against melting of the ice in the Arctic everywhere. But you cannot say that doesn't happen, because it happens and you can prove it with hundreds, thousands of scientific studies about it, plus satellite photos where you see the ice shrinking every fucking year. So you cannot dispute that the ice is melting. You can dispute what will happen, the consequences for the world. That you can totally dispute. And you can also dispute what to do against it. Like, can we even stop it? Because all the scientists say, no, we can't. We can maybe delay it, but we cannot stop it. And we could delay it if we basically stop driving cars and flying airplanes and pumping, like, from coal mining in factories, whatever, any pollution out completely once and for all. So I let my dog quick out, and then she can jump over the fence and molest the neighbor. And so that is the fact. That is where we're living in. I mean, we are in, but that people now who are in power, they deny reality, and they know the majority of the American people is not controlling reality, are so stupid that they believe every lie, and are completely living in balloony land. You know, when Kellyanne Conway, the blonde bitch from Trump, who I saw at Bill Mayer 2 years ago, and I found a very sympathetic woman, but it looks like she is very, very bad. Like, she's like evil, you know. She made up like a massacre from Iraqi exile people from Iraq in America, and that massacre would never happen if the travel ban would happen before, but that massacre actually never happened. I mean, how can you think you get away with it? And I know why. Because she and Steve Bannon and all that other people in Trump's government who are really evil people who want war, they, I think, moving into destroying the world as we know it. I don't think Trump wants to destroy the world, but he has the totally wrong advisors who are nationalist, racist, crazy people. So, and they know that if they just put that out, like Iraqi exile guys killed everybody, that 80% of the people that get that interview on Fox News or wherever, Breitbart News or the other crazy news operations, they will just believe it. And they never get the reversed facts. They're never getting like, there was no massacre and no Iraqi person flipping completely out and running amok. And that is the problem. You know, and I think that is a fundamental disaster for all of us. Because what you want to teach now in schools, I mean, that is the thing, you know, I mean, the main point, what holds the natural science-driven, organized Western world together in Europe and North America, and in most of the countries, even in Eastern Europe, in Asia, in Australia, of course, Latin America, is that we cannot deny, we can believe in a religion, balloony land, in Muhammad, in God, we can believe in all that stuff as a hobby, basically, but we cannot really believe in unproven, completely absurd facts. So what they're doing would be like the New England Patriots would lost the Super Bowl. And they say this now and everybody believes it. They would not fly because everybody knows they won the Super Bowl. But the thing is, like, most of the information they're talking about, 80% of the population in America just don't know it. They don't know that the ice is melting or that the global warming is real because they see a winter, they see rain, they think, what the fuck? Maybe there is no global warming. But there is. You know, it's like 3 + 3 is 6 and not 7 or 5. And that is the key question we have to answer for years to come now, is if a government, and then the most important, or not important, but most powerful person in the world is following like idiotic advisors, radical advisors, and also like crazy facts, because he doesn't really, let's say, wasn't a super good student or whatever, he's not really following facts, is losing it. You know, I mean, that is the thing, and there's a lot of things to discuss where you say you can have this opinion about the Middle East or about Syria or about whatever, right? You can think it's a good thing that Saddam Hussein is gone, or it's a bad thing that Saddam Hussein is gone because then the ISIS came up in Iraq. That is your opinion. You can make different cases about it. But what you cannot fake is that Saddam Hussein didn't had weapons of mass destruction, and that the Bush administration completely lied and faked evidence to show he has weapons of mass destruction, but he never had them. And you can also not lie about the fact that Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with Osama bin Laden or Al Qaeda or the September 11 attacks. Zero. And the fact is also that all the money came from the Saudis, our best friends, because they have so much oil and so much stocks from American companies. They did the September 11 attacks. They paid Al Qaeda. Osama bin Laden is from a rich Saudi family. There are facts. And if you start ignoring facts, then you cannot judge, you cannot have an opinion about anything if you make the basic of your opinion an absurd twist into balloony land. That is the big problem. You know, there was last week in Germany, the chef of the parliament in Germany did a very good speech. I was not used that he makes good speeches, but he said in his speech, he said, if America basically goes into isolation, goes into America first mood, then they shouldn't be surprised if Germany and other countries say Germany first. You know, and right now, look what happened within 2 weeks of Trump administration. The European countries spending way more money now for weapons and army because they feel like, maybe we cannot count on America anymore as partners. Maybe we cannot count on NATO anymore because America basically said, Trump said NATO is obsolete. You know, even if he said 150 times after NATO is not obsolete, of course not, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't know that what he says people have to take serious because he's the president of the United States. He cannot change his opinion every second day. In the Apprentice TV show, he could do it. In his daily show-off business, he could do it. But he cannot do it as a president of the United States because it has consequences in other countries where other countries feel, we have to move on and do something else, right? And you maybe don't want that Europe is getting too strong military. You know, because don't forget, Europe is bigger as USA. In Europe are 440 million people. In USA is 320. You know, and you want like that block of Europe with North America together as one big defense position or one big group fighting things like fundamental Islam, fighting, standing up for human rights worldwide. I mean, they did it long enough, and but that was the idea behind everything, right? But if that dissolves and America is isolating themselves under Trump, that could shake up the whole world order, you know, and that would be not in advantage of America. It would be actually in the disadvantage of America. And that is the thing, to tax goods coming into America will only damage the American people who have to pay more money for the goods. If they tax lumber from Canada, the housing costs in America, for example, will be $20,000 to $30,000 higher per house. So why doing it? You basically, if Trump came in and said, look, I want to help the small guy, the white trash person, the unemployed person, the middle class. So yeah, the first thing what you have to do is try to get the prices low for the daily goods you need. Like Walmart gets tons and tons and thousands of tons of food from Mexico delivered for the Walmart supermarkets, for example. And from China, of course. The rest comes from China, yeah. All the little shitty toys and shoes and whatever comes there is sold at Walmart. If they're getting taxed, the prices at Walmart will explode, and people can even buy less as they can. And people already now need 2 jobs to survive. So how this should end up? How that helps the small person? You know, that is the thing where Trump has to think about it. Like that whole idea of free trade and getting goods in and out. Right? Of course, Germany has a big advantage as an export nation, exporting tons of stuff into US, especially cars, and cars are more expensive as computers. But don't forget, in Germany, everybody has Apple computers, IBM computers, everybody has Facebook. Like Germany imports from US movies and TV stuff and whatever. It's maybe less in total volume as they ship to America, but it's a good kind of trade. And if you start taxing it, then maybe Germany or Europe, they start taxing your stuff. Then the movie ticket for American movies is $2 more expensive as a European movie. Why? That doesn't make any sense. You only damage then the box office of American movies. You damage Apple if your computers are 20% more expensive in Germany. So that is the same. You know, the idea of Trump that people now start buying more American cars if you tax German cars coming in or Japanese cars coming in is completely absurd. It will not happen because the rich people will still buy the German cars. And the other one is also a lot of German car companies like BMW, VW, they have hundreds, thousands of people working for them also in America making the cars there. So how you want to tax this? You know, it is an absurd economic twist, and it's an absurd world. But the biggest danger is really the denying of the basic facts and this kind of fact-proving thing. In my one of my early podcasts, I said it's very, very dangerous that Wikipedia basically replaced like the Encyclopedia Britannica, the Brockhaus. Like there were things of knowledge, lexicas about the world where people really did the research and where only historical knowledge from historians, whatever, came in and they discussed that before it was written. In Wikipedia, every idiot can post shit. And like they take articles serious about people, they are written by internet geeks. And that is a huge mistake. Look, if you go on Wikipedia, Uwe Boll, I live in Ontario. But I live in Vancouver. And in Mainz, I'm not living in Ontario, but I cannot change it because they say only if somebody writes something about me, they can change the information. So I said, but I'm the source. I can show you a photo from my house in Vancouver and my telephone number, my address and where I'm listed. But it doesn't matter. They only take articles from people written about things, serious, but not the source. And that is totally absurd. That idea of the source could lie, you have to use the source and then you have to prove the point. But that idea of the source is a liar is completely absurd. The chance that an internet geek is a way bigger liar and has no information about the source you write about is way higher. You know, but that is a huge problem because that is the first step in fake news. The first step into a total absurd world where nothing... where we all go for Wikipedia, for example, but it's wrong. Like if on my Wikipedia page alone, I like 5-6 massive mistakes, right? But I cannot correct that. And but what is that if global warming Wikipedia is totally wrong? If other people's, more important people as me, informations are totally wrong, that would be the worst.
Where's that tiger? Where's that tiger? There's that tiger. Where's that tiger?
I watched Michael Moore's Who We Invade Next, an interesting documentary full of lies, mistakes over... The thing is this, I like Michael Moore, and I think the idea with the documentary was to show how good it is in other countries in comparison to the USA. For example, he goes to Italy, he goes to France, he goes to Germany. Like in France, in school, they're getting like 4 courses, healthy food, because the French are so much into cooking. He goes to Norway, where prisoners are basically in nice lodges, without a fence even around the prison. So he shows things that are just not true. Let's face it. Of course, Norway has also normal prisons, and he goes to Germany, and yeah, everybody works only 8 hours, and then if you get a baby, you get 15 weeks pay, and you get overtime pay. And in Italy, people go for 2 hours for lunch at home every day. That is all true. But you also have to see, for example, the disadvantages in a lot of that countries. For example, Michael Moore says the whole time, healthcare is free in all that countries. No, it's not. It's like it's a mandatory healthcare. What is there? Let's say you're homeless, you get in the hospital, they treat you. But everybody, for example, in Germany, pays for their healthcare, depending on how much money you make. Let's say you make only $1,000 a month, your healthcare bill per month, the insurance is maybe $20, and maybe even paid by the government. But let's say you make $5,000 or $10,000. Like, as an example, I pay 500 euro a month for my healthcare in Germany. What is an exceptional good, and dentist is involved, whatever, but everybody pays. To just say randomly healthcare is free in Europe is wrong, is the wrong information. And when he goes to Italy, he goes to Burberry, Ducati, like super high-end luxus brands, right? And they have great deals with the people working there. You know, a lot of free time and holidays and paid holidays, of course. But you can go also in other factories, bigger factories, where you don't have that great worker compensations in Europe. But of course, the idea of Michael Moore was to show how great it is in Europe in comparison to how shitty it is in US, right? And then he goes, of course, from the healthcare to the work things. And for example, in Germany, he shows like the actual workers are in the board of directors of the companies. Yes, that is mandatory. But that people who are actually then in the board of the directors, they were workers, but then not anymore. And mostly of them, they're getting also corrupt, and they're getting richer, and they're getting like more involved in the employee world. So a lot of them are actually not really representing the workers in the end, even if they were workers. It's their social climbing chance. And so that is the thing. It's also being from Germany and whatever, knowing really the details of the years, it's very, Michael Moore makes it too easy. It's not so great. Look, Italy, Spain, Portugal, horrific economy situation, horrific unemployed rates with young people. So that is the thing. I mean, of course, prison system in Europe, way better. School system, health system, way better as in US, and cheaper, you know. But the taxes are very high, and a lot of times, you know, when you pay in Germany 50% taxes, a lot of things you think also like, where is my taxes? What they're doing with my taxes? Because I pay my healthcare additional. You know, that is the thing. It's not like always paradise in Europe and the best thing ever. But I felt also when I watched it that he looks very old and sick and kind of losing his energy. What is too bad. I mean, I really loved him and I really like Michael Moore, and he tries hard to make America a better place to fight for the workers, and he was fighting hard for Bernie Sanders. And then he made also the wrong move in supporting Hillary Clinton, who never did anything positive for any white trash migrant child woman unemployed person. She's a hawk. She's Wall Street, Silicon Valley, rich people, you know, corrupt, and that is the thing. And all that support of Hillary Clinton to not get Trump ended empty-handed, and that was a big mistake.
This is Jack Carver in a good mood.
Absolutely outstanding.
This is Jack Carver in a really good mood.
So you are the cause of my recent troubles.
I'm just the driver.
I see. I thought she was dead.
She soon will be.
You are one persistent son of a bitch.
Till Schweiger.
Look out!
What's going on down there?
Stop them!
Oh no.
Far Cry.
I just read an article about the biggest death reason of US troops in the Middle East is not ISIS, it's suicide. So in this week, for example, 31 guys died, 31 soldiers, and 11 were suicide, 8 died in combat, 7 in accidents, and 4 just died because they got ill. So 2014 suicide, that like over like 300 soldiers killed themselves, and 269 suicides, 259 in 2013, and I mean these are alarming numbers. And when they're coming home, you know, it's even worse. 2012, the suicide rate was 22% up. 8,000 soldiers coming home killed themselves 2012, almost 1 per hour, and attempts to do suicide were even 19,000. That is like basically 2.5 tries per hour. Absolutely ridiculous, and that shouldn't happen. But that shows what war and everything is doing to the mind of the people with the PTSDs, but also, of course, the total different culture where they don't belong to. And they're getting there and they think they do something good, but they don't find that. You know, they basically are helpless, you know. And it's a shame that that happens to the veterans, and that is another big argument and point against war in general, to not do any wars, you know. So it's crazy. And what happened in New Year's Eve in Istanbul, 39 people got shot in a nightclub. You know, and that is the thing. It's like the Kurdish PKK, the terror organization of the Kurdish people, it's like if the terror comes from the government, like what Erdogan is doing to the Kurdish people, it's not terror. And it's a little similar to what the US is doing in a lot of countries with the drone strikes in Pakistan, Afghanistan, whatever. That is like war or whatever, like the right of the government, right? But in Turkey are like 15% Kurdish people, you know, and they don't have rights. Basically, they're getting like punished, and they're getting prosecuted for years and years and years, and it is unfair, not okay. And they have the right also for their own little state. They actually are the only people fighting the ISIS. During people say that the Turkish troops actually supporting the ISIS, you know. It's very, very thin ice, you know. Like so when the terror. When they do something, and there's no excuse for shooting 39 people in a nightclub. But it's clear what they want. They want to destroy tourism to Turkey with terror attacks, so that that Turkey suffers economically as long as they don't give the Kurdish people any rights or their own country. And especially North Iraq, Kurdistan is almost existing, so they should be okay with it. And so it's nothing happens without a reason. You know, and it's very, very sad that that shit happens, and it's unexcusable to shoot like civilists and not politics, or, you know, like that is a different kind of thing of terror, same like the Christmas market in Germany where the truck drove just into a crowd of people. There is no excuse for it, but it's expression also of that is the help, like we are helpless, we can do only shit like this to damage the big war machine, the big state of Germany, a big state of US against us, you know, and we besides all that we all discussed it by, since that we want to fight Islamic terror and so on. I'm a hardliner on that matter, but at the same time, we have to understand why things happening, and we cannot just act that stuff just happens, like because they hate us. No, there are always good reasons to hate us, basically, and that is the big problem, and that is why also in the Trump presidency we have to acknowledge this, that the U.S. foreign policy, German foreign policy, like Turkish policy, they are wrong. And if you want that the terror stops, you also have to overthink what you're actually doing to other countries with economic boycotts and freezing money and doing this and that, you know, like stuff like this with CIA actions, like the whole Arab Spring was a CIA leading actions to basically go against the dictators who were more pro-Putin, and then what ended is that the fundamentalist Muslims are getting stronger. So you know, it's a very complicated thing, and as I said, there is no excuse to kill innocent people, but it can also be not overseen that all that actions have real reasons. And there is a huge injustice against the Kurdish people in Turkey, or against a lot of people in Pakistan, Afghanistan, etc. Okay.